is so great to see you. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's just wonderful to see your face.
Oh, Erica, I feel the same. Thank you so much for having me.
So, for those of you who haven't heard Hannah on here before, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to the incredible episodes that I've recorded with her that are funny, that are insightful for money for artists, helping with taxes, and so much more. And she is the person that's been on the show the most over the past 8 years.
I love it.
Good reason, for good reason. Um, so you guys can check out those episodes. We have them in the show notes, so it's easy for you to find or just search Hannah's name. So Hannah, again, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We were chatting a little before we hit record. You know what? I'm gonna tell you like the bomb in my life, which you know about. So we're kind of around the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. So for those of you who have never met me or heard me before, my studio was destroyed in Hurricane Helene here in Western North Carolina a year ago. And so it's been a sad year. It's been really difficult. I feel like I've been like carrying a stone around, like a big sadness. But I decided to have a memorial service for my art, and I invited friends. And I just like did like a kind of like an artist talk, and I like showed pictures of my studio and showed pictures of like me working in it, the kinds of things I do in there, and then and just told the stories of like my art, which is, it's like 20 years I've been a professional artist. And I have to tell you, that was just a couple weeks ago I did that, and I literally the next day when I woke up after that party slash memorial, I just like felt this weight of sadness had lifted. So that was really cool. Just like sharing my art with people after a year of just this like weird isolation of like, oh, the people I love don't even know what a big loss I have experienced. It was really, really kind of eye-opening to share um, my grief. So, as my
Was
therapist would say, grief demands to be witnessed. And I'm sure, Erica, you've experienced this too. So.
Yes, yeah, it is a process, isn't it? And you know, I remember talking to an artist. It was right around the time I talked to you a year ago. So you guys can hear about the devastation. I mean, we're all aware, but you can hear it from a firsthand account. I also talked to the artist Don Kimes, who had lost all of his work in a flood in DC. It was just an apartment flood, and the grieving and the mourning that does happen from such a big part of your life being impacted, and it's a loss. It's a loss, and
Mhm.
so but as you said, grief needs to be witnessed. It's so powerful for people to show up and for you to show up for yourself in that. So I'm so happy to hear that it's been a weight lifted and that you're moving forward. And in this crazy hard year, you wrote a book.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so ready to celebrate it. I feel so like I loved writing this book. This book is like my passion because it is, I mean, you know how when you read a book and it's like you kind of feel like you're being sold on somebody's program. It's like a little, and you just feel like, oh, wait, what? You know, I did not write that book. I wrote the book that gives it all away. That's like every secret, every trick, every system. Like, here's how to do it. Here's how to not ever have to use a tax preparer. Just here's where to save money, and also like here's the places you should not try to bypass because they're really, really hard, and you could really get in trouble. So it's like I just feel so excited for this book to be in the world, and I cannot wait for people to read it. I really think like I have had early readers who've been excited about it, so I feel like I have a spidey sense that people are going to like it. So I'm
I think
excited.
you're correct because I had a chance to dive into it and I was like, okay, it's funny, it's accessible, it's talking to me. And I think that is the superpower that you have, Hannah, and everything that you've done and why, I've had you on here so much is not only are you a light as a person, but you are able to take the experience that artists have when it comes to money and taxes And you kind of, I don't want to say hold our hand in a way that's like dismissive or like, childish, but you really do. You're like, Erica, it's going to be okay. I've been there, I've gone through it. You can do this too. And I think that is a strength that you have at everything that you've done. And so I'm thrilled that it's in this book.
So much. Yeah. It's definitely not coming, like it's taxes for humans. I wore my human shirt. I printed this by myself, in totally non-commercially viable fashion. Um, But I like, you can't miss the fact in this book that I have screwed it all up. And so you can just see like, oh, she's really actually trying to keep me out of the pain that she herself has really experienced. Like it's not, I'm not trying to put on some front like I'm perfect. It's very human and it is written for people who are very human. Like there's a whole section about called Oops, which is about like how to fix mistakes in your taxes.
Love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So you are coming from an artist background. You understand what it is to be a maker and a creator and have lived that life. And then you went on and you became a tax professional. So you bring both sides of that coin together beautifully with the oops and with the mistakes that you have personally experienced, but also then as a professional, everything that you've learned that you get to give to us. So, you know, first question I really have for you is can you share with us, like during this year, and maybe there's other things going on, um, what drove you to decide to write this book right now?
Mm. I think in a way, I've always had it in me. I've always had maybe a secret. I do a lot of writing and I get good feedback about my writing. But I had this agent, I just woke up one morning to an email. I do a lot of speaking about taxes. I teach tax workshops all over the country. And I woke up to an email in my inbox from an agent, and she wrote to me and was like, I was at your workshop last night, and I just want to know if you would ever consider writing a book, because that was not just a tax workshop. That was a mission statement. That was a call to arms for how important creative work is in this world. And I just feel like that is a message that is not out there, and I would like it to be out there. So I was kind of prompted, like the universe kind of tapped me on the shoulder. I'm very lucky that happened. But so
Well,
I was like, oh yeah, I want to do it.
you are prepared. You've lived the life. You've done the things. You've had the schooling. You show up incredibly in your workshops and you write. So it was like it was the universe, but it was also like, of course, this is the next step for you.
I mean, I wanted to do it organically. If she had had to drag me, I don't think it would be a good story. Um, but yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I do actually. I really do have a mission, and I really do like. I mean, here's the thing, and here's the mission is like, as a creative person myself, and this is like the first line of the book is like this demeaning thing that my dad's accountant says to me when I walk in as a professional artist trying to get my taxes done. I don't want I don't want that experience to happen to people. I think like we don't deserve to be, we often in the humanities get treated like we're just dilettantes, right? Or doing some kind of frivolous work. Well, the STEM people are off doing the important things, right? Oh no, my friend, I don't believe in that at all. I actually think we are doing the work that this world needs more than anything. We're the empathy muscle of the culture. We are the people, even in politics, they say culture eats policy for breakfast because changing the culture is actually what moves people. Like we are the movers, so it really matters. We're those bridge builders, community builders. Erica, I mean, my God, what a community builder you are. I just feel like this is who I want to support, right? And I don't want artists running out of money, so or feeling like we're not entitled to great information and financial security. So,
Well, you described that situation of walking in there, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly why I never wanted to walk into one of those places. You know what I mean? And then what does that result in? What you've said, we don't get to create businesses, create support, create communities because we are struggling at the ground floor. Um,
mhm.
So again, just so thankful that that woman was at your workshop and reached out. You wrote this book, and I want to know, what was it like writing your first official book? What was that process like for you? Was it like the creative process that we're visual artists are so ingrained in, or tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a precise parallel, but pretty great. I mean, if I think a lot of people who listen to the show have probably had artist residencies before. And I know in my past, being at residencies, one of the magical pieces there is that you're around other creative people in different fields. I have always loved being around people nearby, but a little outside of art because I learn so much just about the creative process when it gets translated, right? So, like, what does a writer look like? How do they work? How does a musician compose? How does a playwright write a play? Um, and it always makes me feel like, oh, our family is much bigger. Um, so I, I, I think the writing process, like that, like the hardest work was outlining it and like coming up with like what does it need to cover? How do I want people to feel? And those things were like on a, written in Sharpie, like to the side of my desk, like every minute I was writing. Like I want people to feel never ever judged, always like reassured, like your work is important. This is important because you are important. um yeah, so it was like definitely from that feeling, like how do I want the reader to feel? That was the most important thing to me in writing this. And then just like, yeah, that hard work of outlining it. That was really difficult. And once I had a really really strong outline, then writing actually didn't feel hard to me because it felt, because I teach so much, so it's like it's really in there, so I just was just writing and writing and writing, and that wasn't so hard.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, so you said, you've taught a lot, and so you're bringing, of course, much of what you're able to have in your workshops in person. Can you share with us like what we can expect or what artists can expect to get from the book?
Yeah. So, well, speaking of that outline, let me tell you, like, it's sort of the book is grouped into 6 sections. The first is the sort of rallying cry, which is just like, hey, you are so important. What you're doing is important. It's not some secondary thing. And so it helps you feel buy-in, like, okay, right. I actually should read this because it's gonna, one, not feel terrible. Maybe she gets me. And two, like, right, my work is important. Let's uphold it. Let's give it some structure with funding it, right? So that's part one. Then there's like a basic tax education, which is like you could be in high school and read it and get it. In fact, secretly, I want that. I want this book in high schools.
Well, because, I mean, seriously, why isn't it? Like this is what I think about. Taxes just become scary the older
Mhm.
you get because they're not really discussed, or if they are, it's always negative, and which I think you do a really great job breaking down in that rallying cry. Like it made me like not hate taxes as I was reading it. I was like, oh yeah, taxes actually do a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um, but I also like that it is written in a way that is fun and basic because like I'm already battling inner demons and society and all these other things when it comes to it. So to be able to read something really straightforward, fantastic, you know?
Thanks.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And then part three is like systems. So and when I talk about systems, we're not talking about like getting a degree at MIT. We're just talking super simple systems, like how to keep your receipts without ever sorting them, like little things like that, but then that do matter, right? So systems to kind of keep it organized all the time. Then there's part four, which is doing your taxes, right? So you've kind of now, I'm teaching you how to do your tax return once you've got the understanding in place so that it's not like confusing. You're like, oh, now I understand why, right? And I think with knowing the why, it helps like, oh, that's what the Schedule C's job is. It's to, take those business deductions and calculate my self-employment tax. Then I have the rest of the book, in a way, just reading the first half of the book gets you kind of everything you want. The second half of the book is my secret agenda, which is leveling up so that you really save money and build a financial cushion for yourself. I don't think artists put the oxygen mask on ourselves fast enough. I think we all need it. And I'm really trying to be there like, you are important. I want you to do this. Here are some tricks to make it easier. And then part 6 is just kind of a reference. You actually don't have to read it, although you might like it. Um, it is how to fix things. It's got an expletive in the title, but it's called The Fix, and it's about how to fix mistakes in your taxes. Everything from just filing a basic amended tax return to what happens if your spouse goes completely rogue, to like payment plans with the IRS, just whatever is bothering you or whatever's gone wrong, it is like a sort of triage manual, like here's how to fix it. And then the final part is the bigger picture, just like shifting out. And this is where I feel like one of my secret missions. So, secret mission number 1 is getting artists and creative people to have a financial cushion, to actually do the savings part. But secret mission number 2 is civics, is just like, hey, like this matters, you matter. Also, your community matters and your country matters. Let's build the country we want, not the one we're stuck with, but the one we actually want. And so I have a sort of like how to deprogram from your corporate overlords. There's a lot of like phrases that are given to you so that you think about taxes in the way that your corporate overlords want you to think about it. And I'm like, no, actually, that's built to make you think taxes are all bad and we should cut all social safety nets, when actually those things like healthcare, for example, is like really good for us. But those guys don't want to pay for it. So like things like that kind of bring that like that superpower of creative people. Like, we are organizers, we are community builders. And I feel like, okay, we've brought you all the way through, like kind of knowing how taxes work. Let's also get that activist thing in there and be like, we can make this better. So it's got that sort of activist like rallying cry at the end as well.
Appreciated that because I don't think I've ever read anything like this when it comes to this idea of not just mindset, because there's a lot of money mindset books, that are
Mhm.
out there. I appreciate you because you are an artist, so you get it, like exactly where I'm coming from. So I always appreciate that. But I've never read a book out there that's like an activist rallying cry. And that became a really important part for me because I think, I don't know, it made me want to push back even more. And I'm like, if I can do my taxes this way, then it actually allows me to push back. Like it gave me some fire.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah. And I had never thought of it that way, really. I just always kind of thought it was this thing I have to crank through. And at its best, is building maybe a cushion for myself, like you're saying, like, and that was like the best thing. But when you add that in there, it was like a whole other dimension that I think is really empowering and important for creatives to have. Like,
Mhm.
so I wanted to say I've never seen that, and I really love that.
Thank you. It's kind of one of those things like that bringing the artist brain into my training as a tax person really fired me up about. I was like, why is it that every accountant out there never will talk about politics when that's literally what they're interacting with every tax return? And like, I actually find it really important to deliver my education in a neutral way, like nonpartisan way, because I actually love it that you think for yourself
Mhm,
and form your own opinions. That doesn't mean I don't have mine, but I'm not here to impose them on you.
mhm.
But I just feel like this is a superpower. This is like the most basic foundation of our civic makeup. And people don't know how to make it fairer because they don't even know what a fair tax law looks like. Like, come on. So, yeah, I just felt like that is the artist in me. And it's what I just love about being part of the creative community is like, that's what we do. We're changing the culture.
And it allows us to be like creative in a way, like thinking through that lens with our taxes. That was like another little extra for me. Like I'm still following the rules and doing the things, but now that I understand it, it allows me to think creatively beyond, which was like such an interesting moment. Something else I'd love for you to talk about, and we
Yeah.
kind of dove into it, is you were mentioning that you're writing it so that anybody can read it and understand it. Do you think that this is a great book for somebody who is just starting out with their business or thinking about getting a business? Can you share a little bit about that? Like somebody who's like, I don't know, should I take a leap? I'm a painter or I'm a sculptor, or I'm a musician, but what would you say to them?
Oh, yeah. It is absolutely written at the ground floor of tax information because we don't have a tax education in this country. So I don't assume anybody has any baseline at all. I'm here to lay that groundwork. Um, it also is really important when you understand your taxes as a creative person, that you actually are treated under US tax law as a business by default. Like there's no hoop to jump through before you're considered a business to the IRS. You already are one. And so actually understanding that you're a business way before you even realize it entitles you to a lot more benefits than you may realize are available to you. So that's a key piece of teaching in this book. But I also get into a lot of those confusing areas like, but what about an LLC? Like, what does that mean? And am I supposed to do that? Do I have to do that? Things like that that are a little bit next level. It addresses those. So I try to kind of like create a ground layer so everybody has that, but also then do those like, and then you might do this for legal protection, and you might do this to save some self-employment tax. Yeah, so that's my goal.
This book needs to be in every BFA program, BA program out there. Anybody who is like starting or even just studying to begin to see the steps ahead of you would be so helpful rather than already being in the middle of it. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm already here. What do I do? But it sounds like this book also is wonderful for people who are further into their career and already have a business account that they're working with. And I love the fixing section. I think that is wonderful. So if somebody who's like, oh, but I made these mistakes, like you said, it's not about being perfect, right?
Yeah. And I mean, taxes, it's such a funny, honestly, more humane than you realize part of the US government because they have to collect taxes from everyone. And there's no one I'm aware of in this country who's perfect. In fact, most of us are pretty not perfect. And yet we have to do our taxes anyway. So it's designed around imperfection and fixing things and actually like making estimates and then correcting them. So it's actually already built into the system, but I think we're taught, frankly, because of like the sort of marketing of tax companies where their way of getting you as a customer is to tell you to be fearful about it all. So, of course, it feels scary and it feels like if you make a mistake, it's horrible. But actually, that's not true. You estimate your taxes all year, every year, and then the tax return is where you reconcile your estimate against what actually happened. And so we know you didn't get it perfectly, and that's actually part of the system itself, not you being a failure, right? And but the tax companies are there to be like, ooh, scary, scary. You might be going to jail. Better hire us, right? So like I really am coming from the opposite perspective of like, no, it's actually not that scary. You're completely capable. Let's do this.
I love that because you're right. There's so much fear mongering out there surrounding taxes. So then you like have this doubling down on the creative class when it's already like you're mentioning at the beginning, like, oh, your frivolous little thing you do on the side. And then the fear mongering that we're seeing in ads that are coming at us all the time, it's like enough to really paralyze somebody. So what you're doing, it seems like in this book, is really giving us the tools to move through and empower us and say it's going to be okay.
Yes, and I'll lead by example. Like, watch my screw up. I bet you can't do it this badly. It's not from a like superior place. It's definitely like, oh no, no, no. I almost got divorced over this. Like, I hope you don't. Let's make sure you don't.
I love this. I love it. All of the info, all of the lived experience. And there's this other really cool part of the book that I was thrilled to see, which is there is a workbook that you can get as well. So,
Mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect from the workbook, how it works with the book itself? Because I'm very excited about that.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Yeah, so the workbook is a companion to the book. If you're only going to get one, you should get the book. The book is the teacher. The workbook is the coach. So the workbook is, first of all, it's just much fewer words. So there's not as much teaching because you can't in that few words. But it really kind of like has a bunch of mindset prompts to kind of like pull out of you what it is that's holding you back, what it is that you're feeling fear about, moving through that fear and actually taking your first action. So that's a big component of the workbook. There's also a lot of illustrations, actually, both in the book and the workbook. I feel like so many of us are visual. I mean, especially, I like your work listeners, but so many of us are visual learners, and that is another like gift of being an artist that I was like, okay, I think I'm the one. I'm the one who will be able to illustrate these concepts so that you can see how your taxes work in a visual format. And it's like, oh, all of our income goes into this bucket, this one bucket altogether. Like I have some visuals that really help you understand it. So, mindset exercises and prompts, working through the fear. And then the other thing that the workbook does is it has a tax organizer, like the best one you've ever seen. I feel that feels very braggy, but I honestly think it is.
I love it. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear it's the best tax organizer there is because I'm already all in. So, like the fact that I'm also getting that, like, yes, please. Because that's, I
Yeah.
think, for a lot of us, like, we'll start to get the concepts and ideas, but then
Mhm.
it's like the actual taking the steps and
Yeah.
organization. You know what I mean? So, tell us more about this tax organization.
Yeah, so the organizer is actually the place where you crystallize the knowledge and you're like, okay, now we're going to organize your information so that you have all the answers that you're going to literally take from this tax workbook, from this organizer, and plug them into your tax software, so that your taxes are done, right? So it really is taking action. It's walking you through from, name, social security number, the simple stuff, the easy stuff, to like, okay, are we going to calculate our mileage using this method or this method? Are we going to, but you've kind of learned it, like you're up to speed when you get to that place. And the organizer really kind of explains why it matters that choose this or this, what your options are, why it's important. Also, what you can skip, like, hey, this might be irrelevant to you if XYZ. So the organizer is just like when you complete that organizer, you just take that info, plug it right into TurboTax or IRS Free File. Or you can, honestly, if you work with an accountant, it's just as good to bring that organizer right to your accountant and they will plug it in. Although, grant you, I doubt you need to pay an accountant if you've done the organizer.
Oh, good to know. So good to know. IRS free file, TurboTax, all that good stuff, and just having them look at that because I think that's what so many of us need is like, okay, I understand this and this, but then how do I get it to this last point where I can plug it in?
Yeah.
And so I think that's just such a wonderful part of this that is incredibly helpful for all of us.
Thank you. And I think like one of the reasons, one that I struggled so much myself as an artist, but then also why I wanted to go learn about taxes is because as artists, we're self-employed. And when you're self-employed, your taxes are as hard as any other business. But you often don't have the knowledge or the resources or the funding to be able to pay for like real business help. And so it's just like tax companies don't want to give this information away because they'd rather make some money off of you. So it's just really difficult when you are someone like us to get this information to be able to do your taxes. And I just felt like, this just feels like my sort of like give to the world. Like, no, this just needs to be in the world. That is my goal, that you can just take this book and the workbook and literally do your taxes and bypass paying money for doing your basic civic duty.
Right there, that was it right there. When I read that in your book, where you were like, we still have all the responsibilities as a big business, but many times it's on us to be filing it all. We don't have an accountant, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, Hannah's seeing my entire life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the situation so many of us are in. So, right there feels so good to hear. So Hannah, tell us, when is the book available and where can we find it?
Awesome. The book is wherever you would get a book.
Mhm.
Your favorite independent bookstore is my favorite place to get it, but it's available everywhere. It's out officially on shelves November 26th. Um, and it is available for pre-order before that. And just for those of you who are not authors, which is probably most people, pre-orders are so important to get a book into more bookstores and into the hands of more people like us, because pre-orders tell the publisher, oh, you should print more copies. Or like, oh, libraries, you should stock this book. So your pre-order is so valuable to just this book making it into the hands of other artists. So if you are, willing to pre-order, I have some really yummy bonuses because I'm so grateful for that help with getting this book in the world. So if you're interested, I have set up through this wonderful company called Porchlight, which is like an independent bookseller, a bonus where if you pre-order the book, now this will end 2 weeks before publication date, so just be warned that this will go away around like November 10th. But before that date, if you go to sunlighttax.com/bonus, um, you can get the best discount that is available on both the book and the workbook, and get access to my course, a 1 hour like online video course with written resources called IRS Proof Your Deductions. So it's like a really awesome money saving course that's just like 1 hour, and it's about the thing you want, right? Your deductions. So if you want that, sunlighttax.com/bonus. And again, that will end about 2 weeks before November 26th. So around maybe the 10th of November, that bonus will go away.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. All right, guys, I will have that in the show notes so you can easily click there and get your discount and your bonus offer so that you have this book in your studio. You can be perusing it. So when the time comes, when you have questions, we are not on Google getting scared from all the ads while trying to find information. It will all be right there. So again, just head over to the show notes and you guys can click on that and get that bonus. Just make sure to do it by November 10th or it won't be around anymore. So Hannah, thank you so much for being on the show and also everything that you do to support artists and to help us in this journey. So thank you so much.
Erica, I can't say it enough. I feel like the community that you have spent over a decade, I don't even know how long at this point, building, it's so meaningful and so important. Like I feel like a part of it, and I just love everything about what you do. So I just want to say thank you for the amazing work you do.
Thank you, Hannah. I really appreciate that. Oh, and you'll have to have you back on for your next book.
Sure. And you know what? You want the preview? I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
I have an idea, and please, I need a collaborator for this, and that person might be in your audience. I would like to take this book and turn it into a graphic novel and have it in high schools. That's
OMG. Okay, everybody, you hear that? Graphic novel in high schools to help all the kids
yeah.
have the same experience we've had. They're a little bit more on top of it. More,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that'd be incredible. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have you back then and maybe you'll be able to tell the story that you met that illustrator through this podcast.
I hope I do. I hope I do. If you're that illustrator, please reach out.
All right. Thank you so much, Hannah. Till
All right.
next
Thank
time.
you so much. Thanks, Erica. Bye.